distinct pleasure to introduce Mr. Richard Seline. And Richard, you've tried to tell me 3 times. You have 2 different titles, so I'll let you introduce that.
So first off, thank you for your hospitality. I miss our chance to spend a lot more time together, but David, thank you for having. So I am the executive director of Accelerate H2O, which is the statewide water technology initiative here in Texas. That's expanded, a little bit broader than Texas. And most recently, I've become the managing director of Resiliency Capital Partners, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about.
Absolutely. So I'd love to hear the story. I'm sure the audience would love to hear how you came from economic development into resilience, and how you launched that initiative, Accelerate H2O, and then now that you're getting into the capital side, how that came about.
Well, if you think about what we've been doing resiliency all our lives, right? Because economic development has always been about how to help communities, regions, whether it's done through these clusters or whatever, is we've always been trying to find, David, and you've done this a lot better than I have, but it is really trying to help competitiveness, right? Yes. And so if what we've been doing is helping communities and industries and the economic drivers become competitive, it's not that distance from saying, how do you help them become resilient? And the typical drivers, what again you and I've had to deal with, is job loss, offshoring, drop in the economy, or one of the sectors, going to hell, oil
Major
and
industry
gas.
leads, right.
Exactly, right? Instead of those being the drivers, what you and I have realized is that there are these weather-related incidents.
Right.
Some of them are man-made, especially in the water sector, is just as many man-made. But it really wasn't that hard of a transition. It's just that what you and I also have realized, and unfortunately, you started 10 plus years ago as it related to Katrina,
right.
Is these are persistent issues that,
yes.
and regardless of anybody's feeling or position politically about climate or whatever, I don't think either one of us, are in that.
Don't get into that debate, right.
But I think what it really comes down to is this is now persistent.
Right.
We have droughts, we have floods, we got fires, and these are potentially going to permanently change the economic competitiveness of regions, especially along the Gulf Coast, but it's broader than the Gulf Coast, and you've been doing a lot of the international work. So
well, I'll throw a stat at you, Richard. In 2017, worldwide, all the disasters together around the world were at $900 billion. Right. That's over 1.5% of global GDP for that global economic output for that year, for 2017. So this is really starting to have an impact.
It's a staggering number, but it is what you just described is exponentially higher than one of the companies leaving and going to Mexico.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
not that isn't important, or not trying to belittle it, but when a company moves, a couple thousand jobs leave, and it has, but this is overwhelmingly not just an immediate. It is, again, persistent, and it is transformational, meaning that what you saw in Louisiana is that businesses ultimately have to make a decision. If you cannot find a way to make your community resilient against these things, thank you, I'm not going to move there, I'm not going to expand, right?
Disaster risk has become a very, very high priority for companies looking to relocate or expand, and that's where it touches our old profession of economic development.
So here in Houston, all right, Texas Medical Center, one of the largest employers in this community, all right, they're still having to deal with this. It has to constantly attract and recruit the top minds and capabilities from anywhere in the world, okay? Son, I love you. It's a great opportunity in the Texas Medical Center, but I don't want you to move your family down to Houston until they can figure out how to solve this flooding. Now, I just gave you a real message that's happening in the medical center
real
that they
example.
really can't recruit.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And if the neighborhoods are not going to be fortified, then they're sitting there kind of going, well, why do I want to put my family at risk, right? So I think, again, I think you and I have been doing resiliency. It's just that what's changed is the nature of what causes the challenges to resiliency. Am I making sense?
Brilliant point, really is.